Welcome, everyone. All right, let's get started with a really important topic in history today, the early Arab and Turkish invasions of India.
So, let's kick things off with a question just to get you thinking. Do you have any idea who was the very first person to impose the Ghazni attacks in India? We're actually going to find the answer to that as we go through this.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First up, we're going to take a look at the very first major invader we need to know about, and that's Muhammad bin Qasim. Just so you know, all the information we're covering comes straight from these detailed handwritten notes. They've got all the key points you'll need for your exams. So let's get started with the first point. So, who exactly was Muhammad bin Qasim? Well, he was a commander for the Umayyad Caliphate, which was one of the most powerful empires of its time. And in 712 AD, he led the first major Arab attack on India by invading Sindh, where he defeated the ruling king Dahir Sen.
But what was the purpose of this invasion? Why did he attack? There were really two main objectives here. First, to expand the Arab state, and second, to spread Islam.
And right here, this is the answer to that question I asked at the beginning. It was Muhammad bin Qasim who was the very first person to impose the Ghazni attacks in India, which was attacked specifically for non-Muslims.
All right, so after the Arabs, let's move on to the next major phase of invasions. We're going to see how the Turkish attacks began, and this story really starts with Mahmud Ghaznavi. You see, the story of the Turkish invasions begins with the Ghazni Empire, which was founded by a man named Alaptgin. Now, his slave, Subuktagan, eventually became the king, and it was Subuktagan's son, Mahmud Ghaznavi, who took the throne in 997 AD and turned his attention towards India.
Okay, so here's a question that comes up a lot in exams. Exactly how many times did Mahmud Ghaznavi attack India? The answer is 17. Yep, not once or twice, but 17 times. Between the years 1001 and 1027 AD, he launched raid after raid.
Now, out of all those 17 attacks, there are 3 that are really the most significant in history. You've got his very first attack in 1001 AD, then his most infamous raid on the Somnath Temple in 1025, and finally, his last attack in 1027.
And because he destroyed idols at places like the Somnath Temple, he earned a specific title in history, Qasim, which literally means the idol breaker.
But Ghaznavi's invasions weren't just about plunder. This is a crucial point. The famous scholar al-Biruni actually came to India with him. And al-Biruni became the first Muslim scholar to study the ancient Indian texts, the Puranas. It was a really significant cultural intersection.
Okay, let's move on to our third major figure, Muhammad Ghuri. And you'll see his objective was completely different from Ghaznavi's. Right, so unlike Ghaznavi, Ghuri's goal wasn't just to raid for wealth. No, he wanted to establish a permanent empire here. His first attempt, though, wasn't successful. He was actually defeated in 1178 AD by Bhima II of Gujarat.
And this brings us to a huge turning point in Indian history, the 2 battles of Terrain. In the first battle, in 1191, Prithviraj Chauhan actually defeated Ghuri. But just 1 year later, in 1192, Ghuri came back. He won the second battle, and that victory completely opened the door for Turkish rule in India.
You can get a fascinating glimpse into his style of governance just by looking at this unique coin he issued. On one side, you have an image of the Hindu goddess Lakshmi, and on the other, the Kalma, written in Arabic. It really shows his strategy for ruling over the local population. His legacy is pretty complex, though. On one hand, his commander, Bakhtiar Khilji, was responsible for destroying great centers of learning like Nalanda and Vikramshila universities. And in the end, Ghuri himself was murdered in 1206 AD. So, what are the key takeaways we should get from the stories of these 3 invaders? Let's quickly summarize. Think of it this way. Qasim started the process and introduced the Ghazni attacks. Ghaznavi came for wealth and raids. And then Ghuri came with the goal of conquest, and he's the one who laid the foundation for the Delhi Sultanate. And I'll leave you with this final question to think about. How did these 3 invasions, each with a different motive, completely and forever change the course of Indian history? If you found this explanation helpful, please do give it a like, and I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. And of course, please share this with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more helpful lessons like this one. And for extra practice questions, come join us on Telegram. You'll find the link in the description below. And finally, if there's a specific topic you'd like me to cover in the future, just let me know in the comments. I'll definitely try my best to make a lesson on it for you.